As a beauty therapist, I get complaints, doesn't matter what career you're in, but I'm gonna share certain tips with you that will avoid getting complaints and things that you can do to cover your back. I'm gonna start with nails. So one complaint that you would possibly get for a manicure or a pedicure is the length of the nails is not how the client wants it, so it's either too short or too long. So my tip to you to avoid getting this complaint in the first place, before you start your treatment, look at the client's nails, find the shortest nail. They're all pretty even. Alright, shut up now. Let's just say this one's the shortest. Say, okay, this is the shortest nail. Do you want me to file the rest down to match that? Or do you want to keep the length and wait for that one to grow? You need to be very clear about it. The reason I ask you to do this before you've filed and before you've started the treatment is because sometimes as a beauty therapist you think you know what's best and you just get on with it. That's not what you should do, because every client is different. So you might think that that client wants to match the length of all of their nails, but they might not. And if you ask the client, do you want me to make the length all the same, and they say yes, and you in your head you think, okay, that's the shortest one, let me shorten all of them, and you don't ask them first, they might say, oh no, I didn't have a nail that short, you've just shortened them too much. That's why you need to point out the shortest nail before you've started so they can see themselves. The next tip is, after you have filed, shaped, after you've done the cuticle work, get the client to check both hands. Ask them, do you want any of the nails shorter? Do you want any of them more square, more round? Is the cuticle work okay? Get them to check. If they check and they say there is a problem, then you can fix it there and then. If you carry on with the manicure, that problem you might not be able to do anything about it because the manicure is done now. And if they say, oh yeah, it's fine, get on with it, they don't have the right to complain after because you got them to check. Another complaint that you might get, not necessarily a complaint, but the client might not like the colour that they've chosen. Always test the colour out on one of their nails before you start painting all of them. The next tip is something that I've seen at this salon that I'm working at now. I've been at this salon for just over 3 months now, and they do something here that I was just like, why haven't I thought of that? So with a gel polish manicure, shellac manicure, whatever you want to call it, on average it lasts around 2 weeks. That's what the company advertise it as, most of them. However, the salon that I'm working at now, they've noticed that gel polish lasts on some clients but doesn't last on others. Just to cover their backs, they only guarantee 1 week. So if you say it will last 2 weeks, if it's been 13 days and their nails have chipped, they're gonna call you and be like, it hasn't been 2 weeks and my nails have chipped, and you're gonna have to redo it, or you're gonna have to deal with that complaint. It might be that everyone's nails are different, maybe oily nails and drier nails, there's a difference. It might be because of that person's lifestyle, I don't know how they use their hands. So just to avoid getting that complaint, help with the client's expectations, I would recommend to you as well, guarantee 1 week, but do say that it may last longer. My next tip is to do with pedicures. Now, one complaint that you might get with pedicures is that you didn't remove all of the hard skin. Something that you can do to avoid getting complaints, again, it's about communicating with your customer. Tell them that you've done the best that you can do. The customer may not think of this, but we get an hour. At the salon I'm working at now, we get 45 minutes to do a pedicure. Within this 45 minutes to an hour slot, there are quite a lot of steps we need to follow as a beauty therapist, because it's a beauty treatment. We need to shape the nails, do the cuticle work, foot filing, scrub, painting the toenails. There's quite a lot of steps we need to follow, and we need to be cautious with our time so that we don't run late. Some of you might agree and some of you might disagree, but as a beauty therapist, I believe that we do not specialise in removing hard skin. It's a beauty treatment, it's not a medical treatment. So if the condition of that client's foot is quite bad and you feel like they should be going to a chiropodist or a podiatrist, you need to communicate that with them. If you feel like it's not that bad, tell them to come back in a month's time to have a pedicure once a month. Moving on to waxing. So one thing that a customer might complain about is that you haven't removed all of the hair, so there might be like shorter hairs there. Again, communicate with your customer. Sometimes you can see hair under the skin. You know, you might take all of the hair off, but you can see that there are really short hairs just about peeking through the skin, they might think that your wax didn't last. They might think, oh, I got a wax done just a few days ago and it didn't last, I've already grown the hair back. But really that's not the hair that you've waxed out, it's hair that was growing through. You need to communicate that with your customer so that you don't get a complaint. Another thing that you need to do, very, very, very important, when it comes to the bikini area, you need to communicate very thoroughly with that customer, because everyone is different. Some people want just the sides off, some people want like a triangle, some people want a strip left at the top, some people want a strip going all the way down, some people want the strip to be very wide, some people want the strip to be very thin, some people just want a little square on top. Everyone's different. If you don't communicate and you just sort of guess and say a Brazilian is pretty much a strip left at the top, you're gonna get a complaint. Another thing you need to be cautious about is when customers say, I've got a little bit of hair underneath my belly button, is it okay if you just wax that for me? And they expect you to do it for free. You should be charging for areas that you've done. It doesn't matter how small it is, it's still an extra area that you're waxing. You need to tell them, yes, I can do it for you, but it's going to be £7 extra, for example. That client might not be okay with paying that £7, or they might be okay. Be cautious about that. Another tip I have, this is mainly to do with eyebrows. When you're doing eyebrow waxing, always do it a bit at a time and tell the client that you're doing it a little bit at a time. You can always take more off, but you can't put it back. So if I have a customer who's new and I'm not familiar with how they want their eyebrows, a lot of people say, I just want to tidy, don't thin my eyebrows out. And I normally say, okay, I'm going to take off a little bit by bit and you just tell me when to stop. Another complaint that you might get with waxing is if you've bruised someone. And there are two types of beauty therapists. There's one type that will point it out and say, oh my god, I'm so sorry I've bruised you. And then the other type that act as if nothing has happened, pretend that they didn't bruise the client and hope that they don't notice it. I've been a mixture of both. There were times where I did point it out and times where I didn't. And let me tell you, the times that I didn't get anything so far. I haven't had anyone shout at me, and they appreciated that I told them about it and that I apologized for it. There is a customer where they say like, it's okay, but really it's not okay, because it isn't okay. You shouldn't be bruising your customer. Moving on to facials. The main complaint that you get with facials is that the customer didn't get results. I normally don't give a customer a time frame. You tell the customer, look, everyone's skin is different, but if you follow these steps and you buy a course of facials and you do once a month, you will see a difference. So just make sure that you communicate with your customer properly. You don't give them a time frame. If they say roughly like, when am I gonna see a change, on average it can be around 3 months, but for some people it might be 6 months. It is frustrating for the customer when you can't give them an answer about when they're gonna get a result or when they're gonna see a change, but unfortunately nobody knows when you're gonna see a change because everyone's body is so different. Another complaint that you might get with in terms of facials and skincare is people saying, I used the cream that you recommended, I used the cleanser that you recommended, I used it for a week and I still haven't seen a difference. When you sell a product to a customer or when you recommend a certain routine, you need to tell them that consistency is key. If you don't carry on using this for at least 3 months, you're not going to see a difference. Finally, I'm going to tell you certain things that you can do to avoid getting complaints about massages. Before the massage, before you begin, ask the client if there are any areas they want me to focus on. That client might have been experiencing neck pain and they booked that massage because they wanted their neck massage. If you don't ask them if they've got any aches or pains anywhere, if they want you to focus on any areas, and you do the massage and you only do 1 or 2 movements on the neck, they're going to complain and say and think that that was a rubbish massage. That customer might have booked that massage for a particular reason. Ask them if they want any areas to be focused on. Another complaint which you can get with massages is pressure being light or too strong. I normally begin with the back if I'm doing a full body. I do one side of the back and I spend a good few minutes before I ask if the pressure is okay. Some beauty therapists, I've noticed that they literally do one effleurage movement and they say, is the pressure okay? And it's like, you've just started it. That's the lightest movement that you can do. So I normally do a good few movements. I do a bit of knuckling, I do a bit of thumb circles, whatever they're called. So I do a few movements so that they can feel what my massage feels like, and then I ask them if the pressure is okay. You need to make sure that that pressure is consistent throughout the massage. So when we look at all of these tips that I've shared with you today, the key is communicating with your customer, just so they know your thought process, and that will hopefully help. If you did find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you like, and I'll see you next time. Bye.